Do you love huge paintings? Before I start, I just want to welcome members and new people for the first time. My name is Sean and this is Membrane Gallery. If you want to become a member, it's easy. Just hit the subscribe button and join the conversation below in the comments. Now, let's start the talk. Julia Mehretu is an abstract artist world-renowned for her large-scale, multi-layered paintings that depict landscapes and urban environments. She was born in Ethiopia and grew up in East Lansing, Michigan. She got her master's in fine arts at Rhode Island School of Design, an institution known for nurturing some of the brightest artistic minds. Before I get to why I like her style of large-scale paintings, it's important that we're on the same page. Wikipedia says that abstract painting is a style of art that does not attempt to represent accurate depiction of visual reality. Instead, it uses shapes, colors, forms, and gestural marks to achieve its effect. Abstract art can be completely non-representational, or it can abstract elements from the real world to varying degrees. It challenges viewers to engage with the art in a way that's open to interpretation and emotional resonance. I really like her works for many reasons, but the first and obvious one is the way she approaches scale. She has a lot of pieces that can take up most of a wall in a room, which commands your attention and presence. She even has one piece that was commissioned by San Francisco MoMA that stands 27 feet high and 32 feet wide. Her stuff is huge, but not flat. There's a unique sense of depth in her paintings that she achieves through intricate layering of different mediums, colors, and intentions. There's always one anchoring element in her pieces, and once you find it, it makes seeing the story on the canvas easier. It could be a color, a repeating pattern, or a direction of a stroke or a mark. Abstract does not mean chaotic when you look at her works. There's always a story. Experiencing a Julia Mehretu doesn't require you to stare into the abyss until your eyes spread apart like you're out of focus. Instead, it's like unraveling a complex visual narrative. I like her works because they feel like language. Like alien language, maybe even spiritual language. See, I know she likely has her own message or story in her works, but I think there are things being said that she doesn't even know she's the messenger for. It's the amount of markings and colors all over the canvas that makes me feel this. It's not chaos, it's chaos theory. Chaos theory states that within the apparent randomness of chaotic complex systems, there are underlying patterns, interconnection, constant feedback loops, repetition, self-similarity, fractals, and self-organization. Her art illustrates how complexity arises out of simplicity. Let's look at one of her pieces together. This piece is called Congress. She made it back in 2003. Julia is on record stating that her earlier works are more narrative driven and geometric in style. But this is ink and acrylic on canvas. It's 72 inches by 96 inches. This piece speaks to what I was saying earlier. There's a language here. And for me, the anchoring element that helps me understand the narrative, the language, is the direction of the marks. There's depth in this painting because of the marks, not just because of the layering of different forms of the marks, but just the direction of the marks itself is what I think is most prevalent in this piece. And from that, I kind of can get a sense of where she's trying to go with this, and calling back to the title of the piece, Congress, calling to the colors. We're seeing a lot of red, white, and blue here. It's political. It's something, she's saying something political, right? And there's some lines here that looks like lines from lanes in a road, lanes in the highway, or lanes on a track field, right? It's a race. It's these things, Julia, in all the scale, all the abundance of markings, you can kind of decipher, you can unravel when your eyes wander all over the piece. It's fun to look at, and this is just on my computer screen. Imagine being in front of this piece, 72 by 96 inches. That's huge. I guarantee you it's an experience to be had, right? But there's more here, and the swirls of the marks is interesting, right? These are swirls these are directional marks that are almost a motif in Julia's works, and that's what makes me feel like they're language, that there's something being said that maybe she doesn't even know what she's trying to say. This kind of reminds me of Denis Villeneuve's Arrival movie. In that movie, aliens come to Earth and a linguistics expert kind of figure out their language, but the language doesn't look like any kind of language that we've ever seen before, obviously, because it's aliens. But it's interesting. It's just fascinating because what language can take the form of almost anything. Any form of expression can be language, and I think her works is language. What I really like about this piece is that there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. But it doesn't feel busy. It feels balanced, even though that might feel like a stretch. It does feel balanced to me. There's a healthy amount of negative space for the space that Julie has filled up in this painting. Also, the chaos, the entropy doesn't feel like entropy. Like I said earlier, it feels directional, it feels narrative driven, it feels storytelling to me. Something is being said, obviously political, but it's just pleasant to look at. Like I said before, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I like primary colors in my abstract arts. Abstract art that are primary color forward, it just is more enticing or interesting to me, and this has it in abundance. But check it out, it's called Congress. But if I were to buy one of her paintings, it would be this one right here. And that's because I'm drawn to the color palette. I like abstract works that are primary colors forward. Just like I mentioned before, I see language in the markings here. I see movement that tells a story that is energetic and dynamic. If I were to pair this piece with a song, it would be Lift Off by Tom Misch, Yusuf Days, and Rocco Palladino. The reason why is that just like this painting, this song is a journey. Densely layered with instrumentation, but from start to end of the record, I feel like these artists take you to many places. At some moments it's soulful, and at other moments it's dark and melancholy. Both the painting and song invite the viewer and listener to explore and interpret their complexity. Let me put it together and tell me what you think. Also follow her Instagram at Julie Mehretu. Also, tell me what you think. What song do you think would pair better with this piece? Or what other interesting pairings would you put together if you bought one of her pieces? And if you own one of her pieces, please let me know. What does it feel like to have one of her pieces? How did you curate that in your space, being that her stuff is so huge? But once again, my name is Sean. This is Memory and Gallery. See you in the next one, members. Peace.
Thank you.